All right, so I'm going to be trying this challenge real quick. So this is, I can't lie, this is my second take. And basically, we're just going to follow the directions. So I haven't completed through the question just yet. So we're going to follow it one step at a time. So step one is to create a new constructor function called book, which logs books in the school library. So the ID, the title, the author, and the themes, and then the themes should be an array. So to create a constructor function, we do the function keyword with a capital letter for the first letter of the function's name. So it looks like this is already a constructor function created for us. So now we want to log out some of the values that we want to get from the parameter. So we want ID, title, author, and themes. And what we'll do here is that we'll say themes has a default parameter of an array. So that means every time we create a new book, we won't have to pass this argument through that function when we call this constructor function. So now, of course, we have to use the this. And the this here basically is saying this represents book. So because the constructor function is going to create an object, the this is going to represent book, and then the dot ID is going to represent the key. And now we want to see the key, say that the key is going to be equal to the ID that we're going to get passed through this parameter from the argument when we call this constructor function. So now we can say this dot title equals the title. We can say this dot author equals the author. And then we can say this dot themes equals the themes. So now that we created the constructor function, that basically means we can call it. So let's see what the second step is. So add IDs, titles, authors for your two favorite books. So use a prototype keyword to add a theme property to the books. Add at least one theme to each of your books. Okay, so I think what he wants us to do here is to create two books now. So we'll say const book one is going to equals a new, so we're saying a new book or a new instance of our constructor function of book, and then we'll give it the ID of one. We'll give it the ID of let's say the sorcerer's stone. So the author, we all know, I can't even spell her name, J.K. Rollins. We'll just say J.K. Rollins. I'm pretty sure that's not her name. And then for the themes, we can just leave it empty because it already has the default parameter. So now if we console.log book one, we can save it, and then we basically get a book. So we get an instance of a book that's called book one, which is an object, and it has the ID of one because it's the first book. The title is the Sorcerer's Stone. We have the author, and we have the empty array of themes. So we can create another book by saying const book two equals a new book, and we'll say book two, and then we'll say what's another book? The Wizard series, and then this book was created by Kobe Bryant. Very good book. Really sad that he passed away. And then we'll say console.log book two. So now we created an ID of two, the title of the Wizard series, the author Kobe Bryant, and the themes is going to be empty. So now he wants us to basically create a prototype. And a prototype is almost like a function that's going to be put inside of this object that can be called kind of like this. So I'll just make an example real quick. So we'll say const book3, and then the ID is going to be, let's say 4. And then the title is going to be called Things Fall Apart. The author, I do not remember who this author is. I just remember reading this in school. And then the themes is going to be an empty array. And then the prototype is almost going to be like add themes. And then we can add things into this themes array. So that's kind of what we're doing with this prototype. So what we want to do here now is we want to take the book dot, and then we want to say prototype, and then dot the name that we want to add the functions. So add themes, and then we want to equal it to a function, right? And then the keyword, we want to say, let's add the keyword of themes or theme, and then we can open this. And now we can basically write a line of code that is going to take our themes array, it's going to clone it and modify it and add a new theme. So we can do this by saying this dot themes. So it's grabbing the this dot themes from the book, and it's going to equal a new array of a spreaded instance of this dot themes. So again, it's grabbing the this dot themes, and we're using the same name here because we're basically just modifying this original one in order to add new themes. So we're cloning it here, we're grabbing it here, and then we're cloning it here. And then we can add our parameter of theme. So we're getting an error here. I wonder what this is telling me. We'll just keep on moving. So this is basically saying grab this themes, and then we're going to spread it, and then we're going to add a new value. And then now we can say book1 dot add themes, and then we can say a theme of Harry Potter, let's say, is exciting. I'm not really sure. So all right, so we're getting an error here. So cannot parse a given error object. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Maybe it's where we wrote it. So let's try this. Okay, how about let's try to comment out this code real quick. Maybe it's the other object that we created. I think that object is giving us some problems. Yep. So it's this one right here. Right. So now that we fix that, we can take our prototype, and our prototype is basically just working like how that function that I just explained. And we're basically going to say add themes, and then a theme of exciting. So exciting is going to be pushed into this theme here, which is going to be the original themes from the book, from the book object or the book constructor prototype, and it's going to clone it, and it's going to add the theme. So now when we console.log book1, we'll see that themes is not going to be empty anymore. Yep. So now we see, if we get this out of here, that a theme has been added. And we can do this again by saying book1.add themes, and we can say scary, even though the Sorcerer's Stone isn't really scary. I just don't really remember any of the themes that were in the book. So that's basically adding scary to the theme. and then adding it here through the function declaration. And I don't feel like I explained this right, so I'll explain it one more time. The function declaration is basically creating a new function with the cloned function from the book constructor function, and it's being spread. So what it means when it's being spread is that if I take away the spread here, we'll see that it's going to create a new array for every single theme that is added. And that's no good. So you see the first array it created, and then the second array it created, and then the third array it created. So we don't want this to happen. We just want it to be spread into one array, and we can do this by using the spread operator. So let's see if we have to do anything else. So no, we have at least one theme. And then it also works with book 2. So book 2 add themes. It can be mystical. That book was really mystical when I read it. And if we console.log book 2, we get one of the themes as mystical. One thing that I wanted to include here is that the default parameter can also take in a theme. The default parameter of themes array can also take in an element into the array. So let's say the element is, let's say, what's another one? We can say mysterious. So now each book that is created, or each instance of the book constructor that is created, will automatically have mysterious added to their theme. So like even if I make book 3 as a new book 3, and then we can say, what's another book that I've read in the past? Let's say The Magician's Nephew. I think that's the name of the book. And then we'll say that was by C.S. Lewis. And then we can log out book 3. It'll be added here, The Magician's Nephew, C.S. Lewis. And then the themes will be automatically added, which is mysterious. So that's how you do that. Hopefully I explained that well, and there's probably a lot of yelling and distraction going on in the background, but that's okay.